Dear learners, welcome. The purpose of this video is to improve your listening skills, and it helps you understand the story by providing vocabulary. There are also some comprehension questions and a quick competition that you can answer. By the way, enjoy this video, and I hope you like the story. Okay, let's begin. Island of the Blue Dolphins by Scott Odell. Vocabulary Review. Chapter 12. Paddle. To move a boat or something similar on water by using a paddle or an oar. Imagine creating pictures in your mind of things that aren't there, like making a mental movie. Measure. Finding out how big, long, or how much of something there is using a standard way. Sail. To go on water with a boat and wind. String. A thin, bendable rope made from different materials, used for tying, connecting, or holding things together. Lift. To raise or move something upwards, often using physical effort. Touch. To come into contact with something physically, usually with the skin or hands. Hold. To have or maintain a firm grasp or grip on something. To keep something in one's possession or control. Chapter 12. Journey to the East. Two years passed before the ship came back. It was a fine morning, with white clouds over a calm sea. I saw the ship when it was far across the sea. At midday it sailed to the island. The men paddled to the beach and lit a fire. I watched them from the hill. I thought of the man who called me before. I could never forget that man's voice, and I did not sleep at all that night. In the morning I had a bath at the stream. Then I put on my otter coat and my feather skirt. I put on the string of black stones. I remembered the time when my sister, Eulape, left the island of the Blue Dolphins. She did not have a husband, and so she drew a thin blue line across her face. I did the same thing now, and I had to smile at myself. Our young girls wore this blue mark, but I was not a young girl. I made a fire and cooked a meal for Rontu, Aru and me. I was not hungry, and he ate my food and his too. "We are going away," I said to him. "Away from our island." He lay down and fell asleep. I tried to imagine the white men and their country. I did not have an idea of any other place. I only knew my island. I could not remember the faces of my people, not even Eulape's face. My heart felt tight. I saw the three men before they saw my house. One of the men was short and wore a long gray coat. They saw the smoke from my fire and soon reached the house. I went outside and looked at them. The man in the gray coat was their chief. He had a string of beads around his neck. At the end of the string something shone. He lifted his hand and made a sign towards me. This sign was the same shape as the thing that hung from his neck. One of the other men talked to me. His words made a very strange sound. At first, I wanted to laugh, but I bit my tongue. I showed that I did not understand. Then I smiled at him. He spoke more slowly, and the words seemed sweet. They were the sound of a man's voice. There is no other sound like the voice of a man or woman in all the world. They asked me in sign language if I wanted to go with them. I showed them my full bags and my birds, and then I followed them to the beach. They liked my string of beads, the coat, and the feather skirt. We came to their fire on the beach. The chief then said that I had to have a dress. I knew this because a man measured me with a piece of string. He measured me from my neck to my feet. The dress was blue. One of the men cut up 2 pairs of trousers, and my dress was made from these pieces of cloth. The man sat down on a rock and fixed the pieces together with white string. Sometimes he held the dress in front of me. He showed with his smiles that he was pleased. I smiled too, but I was not pleased. I wanted to wear my feather skirt and my otter coat. They were much more beautiful than the thing he was making. The dress was more like the chief's coat than a girl's dress. It made me very hot. But I smiled and put my feather skirt in one of the bags. I could wear it when the men were not around. The ship stayed at the island for 9 days. The men wanted to hunt otter, but there were none. I knew then that a few of them did remember the Aloits. They swam away in fear when the ship came. I knew that the otter were in the kelp beds around Tall Rock. The hunters touched my otter coat and showed me their spears. I told them nothing. I did not want him to kill my friends. I tried to ask them if they knew my people. Then it was their turn to tell me that they knew nothing. Much later when I came to Santa Barbara, I met a man called Father Gonzales. He told me that my people did arrive safely in his country. Later, a great storm damaged their ship. There was no other ship on that part of the coast. And sir, the white men never came back to the island for me. We sailed on the 10th day. It was a morning of blue skies and no wind. We went straight towards the sun. I stood and looked back at the island of the Blue Dolphins. The last part of it that I saw was my hill. I thought of Rontu lying there. I thought of Wanene and the little red fox. I remembered my little boat in the cave. Dolphins swam and jumped in front of the ship. Around me could hear the sound of people's voices. My little birds were singing in their wooden box. And Rontu Aru sat next to me. Comprehension questions. 1. How does Karana feel when she sees the ship approaching the island after 2 years? 2. What does the man in the grey coat have around his neck, and what does he do with it? 3. How do the men communicate with Karana about going with them? 4. How does Karana feel about the dress that the men make for her? 5. What does Karana do when the hunters show her their spears and touch her otter coat? Quick competition. Read the sentences below and find the correct adjective, adverb, verb etc. used in the story. 1. He spoke more, blank, and the words seemed sweet. Lazily or slowly. 2. The men wanted to hunt otter, but there were, blank. None or some. 3. They were much more, blank, than the thing he was making. Horrible or beautiful. 4. I knew that the otter were in the kelp beds, blank, Tall Rock. Around or throughout. 5. He told me that my people did arrive, blank, in his country. Harmlessly or safely. Thank you for listening to this chapter. Now, read the comprehension questions again and try to find the answers in the story. Then, do the quick competition part. Also, the answers are in the explanation part of the video. Check out your answers over there. Moreover, don't forget to subscribe for the new episodes. If you like this chapter, click the like button. To make this project more effective and beneficial, let me know in the comments below.